Hi, my name is Meg, and I am coming to you from my room with very bad lighting. See if I can make it better. Slightly better. Okay. I'm just really upset, and I need to vent, and I'm probably gonna get emotional, and I don't really care because I'm just fucking pissed off right now. Still really bad lighting. Maybe if I do this? Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna be real. Okay. I'm not having a great day overall, period. But I just went to the grocery store because I needed to buy some bread and I wanted some bottled water for later since we have a gig tonight. And it's at this festival. So we have like drink coupons, but we have to walk far away from the stage to get the drink. So if I just need water, I just gotta bring my own big giant bottle. And I needed bread because here the grocery stores are not open on Sunday. So if I want a sandwich tomorrow, I needed to buy bread today. I'm not in a good mood. I said that already. It doesn't matter why. The point is that I went to the store. I just wanted to get my bread and my shit and come back here and chill to be ready for this gig. And as I'm standing in line, this dude behind me decides to start fucking saying creepy ass shit. And just saying like, oh God, it was just pissing me off so much. I wanted to write a Facebook status, but I have a particular family member, which I will talk about later, that would just piss me off if I did. So I wanted to talk about it instead. Anyway, so I am standing in line, and this guy is like, oh, something about, he was asking me where I'm from and stuff, and I was just trying to be like, okay, like, I just want to be alone. I don't feel like that's a bad thing, especially if you go to the fucking grocery store, and you're like sweatpants and giant sweatshirt, you got your headphones in. I was not like standing there like, come talk to me. I was standing there like, I want to go home. And he starts saying things like, oh, such a nice figure, you know, I can see that for myself. I really like that. You're like a model to me. And first of all, I hate when guys make compliments that are like, you're like this to me. I like how that blah, blah, blah for me. It's like, bro, whatever. And like, I'm not going to be mad if someone gives me a compliment, but I don't need strangers' compliments or comments on my body or my appearance, because it just reminds me that when I go out in the world, especially as a woman, that's all that I am then. I'm just this semblance, this mass of body parts. And I know if I get mad about this, it's just a fucking compliment. But I was so uncomfortable because I started thinking about things that I could say to this guy. Things like, I don't know you, I don't need your compliment, like I don't want to hear it. And at the same time, I couldn't even do that because you know how many women get like shot and stabbed and followed because they reject dudes. Because they reject dudes when they weren't even asking for anything. And by the way, let me remind you, I'm in the grocery store with my hood like this because it was raining outside, my sweatshirt zipped up to my neck, and sweatpants. Like, I mean, I'm not even, like, and even if I was wearing something, it wouldn't be asking for it, but I just like to point out that I in no way positioned myself, especially with my headphones in and the way I was standing, I was in no way positioning myself for contact to anyone, to any human being, okay? The only two words I said were to the person in front of me because I wasn't sure if the flower that was resting to the side of the belt was hers or not, because I wanted to ask her if she was going to, like, forget it. I didn't want her to forget it because she's buying 50 million things, so she's sitting there with the child and trying to get all this stuff in the grocery cart, and so it's taking forever, which is in no way a bad thing, because if you are clearly a mother and you have to buy groceries for like I don't know how many children, but because it was taking forever, I just was trapped in this line. I couldn't go anywhere, and I couldn't say anything, and like what people don't get is like half smiling and turning away. That's not flirting. That's, I'm uncomfortable right now and you need to stop. But it doesn't matter if you tell people to stop. There's so many men out there, they don't stop because they like to remind you once and again, your body as a woman is their property somehow. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about an experience I had last summer, and the window is open, and that's why you hear all the honking. I had this experience last summer where I really wanted a soda at 11 p.m. and I wasn't living in the greatest neighborhood. I still don't live in the greatest neighborhood, but when I say I wasn't living in the greatest neighborhood, I live in a town that's relatively safe. Relatively safe. Except for this one area where I was living in, which is like right next to some developments. I'm not exactly sure, but like if you look up the town, they're like, it's a really safe town except for this one place. And I have had more than one female friend who's been assaulted, chased, and followed in this area. Okay, so it was not a good area for women, if we're being real. And I would always try not to be out late at night. So at 11 p.m., I was like, okay, I'm 2 blocks away from the store where I can buy my soda. I'm just going to go get my soda, go home. I'm pretty sure I have my pepper spray with me because I used to carry pepper spray everywhere because I worked at a bar at that time. And I would be working till like late, and then I would have to walk home because taxis are really expensive and I don't have a car. So anyway, so I walk out to get my soda. I'm almost at the store, and this guy stops me and asks me for directions. And I gave him directions because I'm nice, way too nice. And then he starts asking me questions and like, what's my name and blah, 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 blah. And I said, sir, I really don't want to talk right now. I'm just buying something, and then I'm going to go home. And I didn't say like, don't talk to me. I was polite. Even though I don't need to be, I was still polite. So this dude follows me to the store. All admits I'm saying, you need to leave me alone now, please. Go away. He waits outside of the store while I buy my soda. And then I'm thinking like, I'm not sure if my roommate was home at the time. Like I think she was like on vacation or something. So I'm thinking like, if this guy follows me back to my apartment, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. That's it. So I was like, I gotta lose this guy before I get back to my apartment. I was really close. So I got aggressive because that's what you need to do sometimes. And I was just like, look, I got pepper spray. You gotta get out of my face. And I've done this more than once. Like I've just been like, get out of my face. I'm not gonna take this, whatever. And it's worked. But I was pissed off because after I'd said no once, that's all I should have to do. I should only have to say no once. And then this guy should leave me the fuck alone. But he didn't. He followed me and waited outside for me. Like, do you understand? Like, that is so ridiculous. He followed me and waited outside for me after I'd said no multiple times, okay? I was so pissed, like I am right now, which is why I'm yelling. So I posted a status about it on my Facebook. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was something about, like, if I shouldn't have to say more than once, and if it's late at night, you don't need to be talking to me on the street, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Okay? And then I got these people commenting like, well, what if he was just a nice guy and he just needed directions and like you just like were mean to him and blah, 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 blah. And it was mostly, I have this family member, okay, who likes to comment on everything I post. And it doesn't even matter what it's about, by the way. It doesn't even matter, okay? He comments on everything I post, okay? I posted something about my favorite Disney movie recently. I posted something about my favorite part of Mulan. That's what I posted. My favorite part of Mulan. And he commented with, do you even like guys? You know, the ones that like women? It's like, bro, I'm talking about my favorite part of my favorite Disney movie. How can you find something negative in that? But anyway, of course, he's coming like, no, Scott. Well, I hope sometime you're screwed over and some guy won't help you because he thinks women are bitches. It's like, one, I gave him his directions, okay? I was a good person, and I gave him his directions even though I was in a situation where I still felt unsafe. Even though this guy just asked me for directions, I felt unsafe. And guess what? It turns out I had a right to because he followed me to a store, okay? He followed me. And I can't tell you how many times I've been followed, okay? I had one dude follow me from close to my apartment to my friend's house and then wait for me outside and follow me halfway across the bridge until I told him to fuck off and I had pepper spray because that's the only way to do it sometimes. Look, I know that if anyone ever sees this video, they'll frame me as some angry woman who hates men and like whatever, compliments, blah, 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 blah. Just deal with it. But I am angry, okay? And it's not even because I don't need fucking comments on my body. It's because every time someone comments on your body as a woman, you start to feel unsafe. Almost every time. Unless you're in a social situation where it's acceptable. Now, if I'm in a bar, for instance, getting a drink, and some guy comes up and talks to me, it is a different situation because I'm in a public space with lots of people and I have more control. Now, obviously, in the grocery store, I was in a public space, but because I was waiting in line, I was unable to really walk away from the situation unless I wanted to not get my groceries, which I don't think is a fair expectation, okay? If you're in a public space with lots of people and you feel like you're in control, if it's clearly safe and a guy comes and talks to you as a woman, that's a lot of a different situation, but just in random public spaces. That's ridiculous. If some girl is sitting anywhere in public and she's got headphones in, if she's doing something else, if she's reading a book, whatever, she doesn't want to talk to you, okay? Big surprise, sometimes when we go out of the world, like if we go to the park or whatever with our music in, it might be because we need some alone time. Like usually when I go out for walks, it's because I need to get my thoughts in order and to myself and figure some shit out. And someone coming up and talking to me, I'm usually very polite at first. And if someone comes up and talks to me and I'm not having it in that moment, and I feel safe enough to say so, for instance, if it's daytime, okay, and there's other people around anyway, and some guy starts saying whatever as I'm walking somewhere and I can get away, I say, you know, I'm sorry, I really want to be alone right now. This is nothing to do with you. I'm just trying to get some me time, you know? And I don't get aggressive or mean until the situation continues after I've said no once. Because my policy is, of course, I shouldn't have to say no more than once. That's not a ridiculous request. So, I was so fucking pissed off. I was so fucking pissed off. I still am. And I know that if certain family members of mine saw this, I know exactly how they'd react. Oh, you hate men, blah, 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 blah. I don't hate men, but when you're in a situation that makes you feel unsafe, and as a woman, we're in so many situations that are so unsafe. We walk around with our keys in our hands and pepper spray in our purses because we're terrified. We're scared all the time. And you know what? Every once in a while, one of us, after carrying this around, after being terrified all the time, we break down and we get mad about it. Because it sucks. It really sucks being scared to go outside of your house. It really sucks to be scared to go outside of your house. And when one of us finally breaks down and is like, this sucks, I hate this, this is bullshit, everyone's like, why do you hate men? In this other post, this Disney post where my family member commented that I don't write positive, he commented later, I said something like, this is my favorite part of a Disney movie, this has nothing to do with like anything, like, and I made this comment where I said, like, he commented, like, do you even like guys and blah, 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 and I didn't respond at first, and then he commented, response, and I kind of was like, well, I don't owe you a response because you're implying that, like, it sounds like you're implying that I'm a lesbian as an insult, and I don't want to respond to that in any way other than saying that being a lesbian is not an insult, because it's not. Hating men is also not really an insult. There are some women that hate men. And normally it's because they've been assaulted or abused or raped. And maybe it's not fair to hate all men, but when you're terrified, you can see where it comes from. Anyway, then he commented further something about, well, you know, you never write anything positive about men. I just thought about that for a second, okay? I never write anything positive about men. Okay, I don't know what he means by that, right? I don't write anything positive about men in general. I don't write anything positive about women in general. Or like particular races in general. Because I think writing things about people in general is kind of a dumb thing to do. You know, when my boyfriend posted his song, for instance, on SoundCloud, and it was something that we'd done together and recorded together, I shared his post because he shared it so people would see it, and I shared it and I said something about his playing and how he's really dope. It was a positive thing about a man, but not about all men, because that's a silly concept to write positive things in general about men. And to be honest, in general with men, I've not had all the world's most positive experiences. Don't get me wrong, I have male friends that I really love and I write positive things about. Or think positive things about. I have male family members who I really love. I have male coworkers who I really care about, really respect. But because I identify as a feminist, and because I get pissed off when people say things, creepy things to me in public when I don't want them to be said to me, that means I must hate men, or I can't take a compliment. But you know what? Women's bodies are not here to be commented on. You can think whatever you think. That's your right as a human being. But if you don't know someone, going up to them and saying things like, oh, I like your figure, you're a model to me, it comes off as creepy, especially when you're in the situation of power, which in general rule, men can be more physically powerful because of, I mean, there's a complicated reason for that, and a lot of it has to do with socialization. But this guy's like, whatever, how many feet taller than me? I'm not athletic. I can't do nothing. I can't do anything. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd like to think that if I was attacked, and I was chased once, by the way. I was stalked and chased, okay? And I got away from that situation because I ran for my fucking life. But if a man actually got on top of me, grabbed me, I don't know what I would do. Like, I would fight back, but I'm not even that strong. Like, I'm not. I'm not athletic. I'm not strong. What am I going to do? I've taken self-defense classes, but I don't still feel confident in my ability to, like, punch someone. I've never punched a human being in my life. I guess my point is I'm just angry. And if you're a guy who's out there saying things like, well, we're not all like this, then just don't be like that. And when you see a guy friend doing some shit like that or being creepy to a woman and she's clearly uncomfortable, and believe me, it's easy to tell. If we're turning away, if we're trying to get away, if we're not really responding, that's us being uncomfortable and being terrified to turn you down because women keep getting shot for turning men down. Women are getting shot for turning men down. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are terrified. We are terrified to say anything. We are terrified to do anything. We just try to get away. So if you see your guy friend pulling some shit like that and some girl is like clearly uncomfortable, then tell him, hey, back the fuck up. You don't need to comment on her body. You don't need to comment on her figure. You don't need to comment on anything because you don't know her. Oh, you want to get to know her? Let me tell you something. If you really want to get to know someone, you don't comment on their body first thing, okay? You say something else. You can even tell someone you like their shirt. Like, I'd be much more willing to talk to some guy on the street if he said something like, oh, I really like your pants. They do this or whatever. Or was like, hey, that's a cool something. I don't know. But someone saying like, oh, your figure, I really like that personally. It's like, this is creepy. Stop doing that. Like, how would you feel if someone talked to your sister or your mother like that? And I don't even want to say that because it doesn't have anything to do with that if she's a sister or a mother or a daughter or whatever. It doesn't matter. She's a person. You shouldn't talk to people like that. It's wrong. It needs to stop. It needs to fucking stop because we're terrified and we don't feel safe and some people are making it worse. No, it's not all men, okay? We all know this and nobody thinks this, so if anybody wants to say all men, they can go somewhere else because I'm not hearing it right now, okay? But all women have had an experience with this, okay? All of us have daily experiences like this, so it's enough. Men that are doing this, and you are the ones that need to learn. We are not objects, we are not your property, and if we're wearing headphones, we don't want to talk. I don't care if you want to get to know me. If I don't want to get to know you, we don't get to know each other, because that's how consent works. And not just in this situation, in all situations. So I'm just tired of every time I go out into the world, I get reminded that what I am, first and foremost, is an assemblance of parts. I'm a human being, and I deserve to be treated like one.